Hi there. Today we're going to go over depreciation. I'm Kyle Barnett with Asset Panda, and I'm happy to share this information with you today. So I already have my screen shared, and as we're looking at it, I've got some vehicles here inside of my Asset Panda Pro account. And with that, I'm already tracking some depreciation on this. Now, I'm going to take a step back. If we do want to set up depreciation initially on this, and we don't already have it in here, the easiest way to do that is we click on the settings on the side right here, find our collections, hit manage, and then hit that toggle for depreciation. By doing that, that's going to go and turn on those depreciation fields so that we can start tracking that depreciation on these assets. Now, once I have that turned on, I can go and start to fill this information out, whether it's individually or through importing. I have that capability to fill it out with that information. We currently have five different types of depreciation. We have our straight line depreciation, very common, our declining balance, sum of years depreciation, units of production, and double declining. As we can see here, I already have my straight line depreciation filled out for a lot of my assets, but there is one that is missing. For most of our depreciation, as we look at these, we do want to select that depreciation type first, because that will determine what information we need to fill out. As we can see with that declining balance, our annual rate popped up. If I change it to sum of years or straight line, that's no longer there. With units of production, we now have the total estimated units and the units produced. So we always want to make sure that we select our depreciation type first so that we can make sure we're getting the required information. Jumping back over to straight line depreciation, I need to fill out my asset cost. So let's say this asset is $60,000. And when I placed it in service or started depreciating it, so let's say that that was February of 2020, February 1st, our salvage value, what we're expecting to depreciate it to, I can say $1,000. I can say, hey, this one I want to take down to 10,000 and then sell it there. And how long I expect to have it for. And this is going to be in months of life. So if I want it for, let's say, 5 years, then I need to do 5 times 12, which would be 60. If I want it for 10 years, then I need to do 10 times 12, which is 120, which is what I input in there. Go ahead and hit save. And now what that's going to do is that's going to calculate that depreciation with those depreciations. So now, as we can see, that line is filled out there. And I also have this nice little depreciation box that popped up, which will tell me, hey, this is the current month, what we've depreciated to currently. This is our current book value of that asset. This is our last depreciation expense, what we expensed it by over the last period. And this is our total accumulated depreciation up to this point. I can also hit the view details, and that's going to take me to this nice little chart, which is going to lay out every single month what the book value was at the beginning and what it was at the end and how much we depreciated by it there. Now, the nice thing about this, I can actually scroll down. It will take me to that salvage value or that ending value, and it will tell me that period of time that, hey, this is going to be our last period of depreciation, which is January of 2023. Makes it very nice, very easy. Jumping back to my vehicles, I can also report on this information. I can go ahead filter by any of those depreciable values. So, hey, I want to see, any assets that have a depreciation type of, let's say, straight line, which is going to be all of them. Or I can say, hey, I want to see any of my assets that have a book value that's below a certain value. So let me just double check where I have my current book values right here. So let's say, hey, I want to see any of my assets that have a book value below, let's just say $20,000. So I can go and find my book value, current book value, and I can say, you know what? I want anything that is less than or equal to 20,000. Go to apply that. And that's going to filter by that information to go ahead and show me, hey, here are all of those assets that have that book value below 20,000. Now I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that because what I'm looking to do is I'm looking to have my depreciation report, especially my monthly depreciation report. So I want to go ahead and set up a view for this. Now I can get rid of a lot of this other information. So I'm going to go ahead, come to my manage fields and get rid of a lot of that non-pertinent information that I don't need in here. I really am just looking for my depreciation information. Now, as we can see, a lot of information here. I can just hit up at the top, hide all, and then just select what I want. So maybe I want, hey, that ID, the license plate, maybe some additional information, but ultimately I want to know, I might even get rid of that asset cost, but I want to know that current book value, the depreciation expense, and my total accumulated depreciation. That's typically what I want. But again, I can bring in additional information if I want. If I also want to have that depreciation type in there, I absolutely can. Again, it's up to you on what of that depreciation information you have. Now that I have this view saved and or created, I can go ahead and come up here and save it. Call this my depreciation report, whatever you would like to call it. And then I want to lock this view. The reason I want to lock it is that's not only going to prevent other people from coming in and altering that view, but it's also now going to allow me to run that historical depreciation report. And we'll get to that here in a second. But from here, now that I have this view, I can always easily jump back to it, even though I may not be viewing that in my assets or main assets collection. Again, now that I can see all of those details again, I can jump back over to my depreciation save view, and I can see that depreciation information that I've predefined. And this will always stay up to date. From here, I can manually export this data as a PDF, CS for your Excel spreadsheet, or I can also create what we call an automation to automatically send that information out. So I can come over here and I can say, hey, you know what? I want to go ahead and create an automatic depreciation report. And so I'm going to have that scheduled and I'm going to say, you know what, weekly on the first, or not weekly, monthly on the first day of the month, or maybe that first Monday of the month, whichever, threshold or period you'd like to. I want to then send a report and I want that report to be my depreciation report. I want that to be in a PDF, Excel, or CSV spreadsheet. And I'm going to send that to whoever I would like to send that to. And now I can have that report automatically go out once a month to whoever needs to without me even thinking Asset Panda is automatically going to do that. Now, let's say I need to get some of that historical side. Maybe I missed a couple months, forgot to put that in my ledger. I can also come back here, and the reason why I save that is I can run that historical depreciation report. So let's say I want to see everything that depreciated from January 1st of this year to maybe, June 30th of this year. Inside of this report, it's going to track all of that information. I can hide if records were already fully depreciated to the time of me running this report, and I can exclude non-depreciating records inside of this report. I can go ahead and run that report, and it's going to give me that PDF with, again, that asset information with that view that I like, but it's going to give me that depreciation expense up to the end of that period and that accumulated depreciation up to the end of the period. This is going to be what we expense during that whole period that I narrowed down. So from January to June. So if we were to take that and divide that by 6, because it was 6 months, we would get our depreciation expense during that period per month. I just want to thank you guys. If you guys do have any questions on this depreciation information, we are always happy here at Asset Panda to go ahead and help answer that for you. Thank you so much. Bye.